we gotta line up, right?
Thank you.
Morning. Good morning.
Morning. I'm hit the live button. You get the live button. I gotta get the other
we're
live
all
button.
live now. While we're hitting all the live buttons, today our giveaway hashtag is hashtag limitless.
Oh, it's a nice one.
There you go.
I'm going to put that in the chat also. Hashtag limitless. So we're giving away a surprise. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be amazing. And it's going to be a Kiltz cup. Whoever wins today wins a Kiltz cup. So it's put hashtag limitless. There we go. Hashtag limitless.
All you need.
Do you deliver to Australia? I don't know one.
You know what?
We could it'll
bring it
go
to you.
around the globe, right?
Yeah, and he can bring it right to you. April 26th also.
Yes. Oh, that's exciting. We'll go and cuddle a koala and feed some kangaroos.
The 26th will be in at Carnivore Collective in Melbourne.
Yes.
And I know DC's working to set us up in Brisbane.
Yeah,
Brisbane. Yeah,
Brisbane. Where's that?
That's at the top end. I'm in Melbourne, so
I love Melbourne.
Yeah.
All right, let me clean my camera. I think we're good. Leon Grovasande is in our mighty tribe. We got Limitless Lindy and Todd, the Carnivore Cure, here today. And we're just like rocking solid. And Miss Alia Wells from Colombia. Todd's in Montana.
Yes, sir. Montana. Yep.
Montana. And Lindy is in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. Yes.
Yes.
And we just I've got our Instagram up, Dr. Kiltz Instagram. I still don't have my CNY fertility Instagram. We got to work on that one. And I got Amy Perrin is stopped in on KMT, Keith Strickler, and Angela Mullins from Virginia. And what do we have to talk about today, Todd and Lindy? What's the top of your mind?
Man.
Oh. You
go. Meat stock? Is that what you said?
Meat stock and
meat stock.
Healing Humanity and Carnivore Collective and now let's see, Todd, you got something coming up in July?
Yeah, we are hoping we're trying to put together a meetup here in Montana for July because Carrie Mann and the Healing Humanity team are coming down to film, and I know Bella with the Steak and Butter Gal is going to be down here, and I believe that at one time Chafee and Elle were getting married, and I thought they were going to do it at one time in Wyoming, but I think they might have done something different now. But that was originally the plan because they got engaged in Wyoming during weddings, Bella's wedding when they're down there. So yeah, for sure.
Well, Alia, is Kiltz going to be in Montana?
You are.
In July?
Yeah, you are actually in Bozeman.
Awesome.
Maybe I'll be there too. I don't know. Maybe
it'd be awesome. It's we're gonna have a heck of fireworks show, and then we are putting together the details right now of exactly how it's going. But yeah, for sure.
And I'm flying Kiltz Force One. Where am I landing?
But you're landing, yeah. Belgrade, Montana, actually, but it's BZN, Bozeman Airport. Yep.
BZN.
Yep.
I'll be there. I'll be there.
Trump landed there a couple times. So
well, I might bring him with me. Bring Trump and RFK.
And Kiltz Force One.
Yep. Brisbane. All right. So we're working on Kiltz being in Brisbane. I've gotta work it out, but 99.99999 Kiltz is in Brisbane. Now, how can I go all the way to Melbourne and not go to Brisbane, right?
That's what I was thinking. That's what my whole thought process was. You're only 2 hours and minutes away.
Yeah. It's good. So we're hashtag limitless, and we're we're going to throw in a Kiltz Cup for those on YouTube, Facebook, and we're working to get our KMT and our Dr. Kiltz Instagram. There's a Q button, and if you just want to put questions and for Limitless Lindy and our good friend Todd, the Carnivore Cure, just ask and throw it out there. And this is such a word. We were on with Chafee yesterday. I mean, he's a rock star. He's like amazing. And
we're following up Chafee. This is no fun.
Oh man, no, this is good. This is good. This is icing on the cake, as they say, or sauce on the steak, or that extra blackened part of that ribeye, right?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Let's see. Who named Kiltz Force One? I can't remember. Someone named it. I couldn't remember who did the naming. Let's see. Mark Sapiens here. Karen Hunt Cook. How did each of you find Carnivore? Lindy, why don't you throw it out there first, and then we can get to Todd.
Yeah, no, well, I was actually watching Dr. Berry videos on keto. That's how I started, because my sister lost a lot of weight on keto and says, Lindy, you got to try it. So I watched Dr. Berry, tried keto and the macros and all those keto desserts and fat bombs, and they just threw me. I couldn't do it, found it too hard. And then I discovered his carnivore videos and thought, this guy's crazy. But I gave it a try and, got my life back. So Dr. Berry's how I found it. And then on to Bella and the rest of the awesome doctors out there.
And Todd, how did you find this crazy space?
I backed into keto first, and then from keto I was kind of transitioning it to something that worked a little bit better, and then Jordan Peterson would have been really the first one that I had heard about carnivore and lion diet, and that's what I figured. If you're as smart as Jordan Peterson and you're doing it, there's got to be something to it for sure.
But don't we need the minerals and vitamins from plants and the fiber?
I would think if that was true by now, I should be dead.
Well, and tell us what your meals look like.
Lately I've been doing the Carry Man Power Bowl every morning. That's been pretty good. I've been chopping up ribeye and a little bit of bacon and making about 12 eggs and about a pound of meat or so with it, and then usually just a fatty ribeye. In fact, right now I've got a rib roast in there, and I'm about to eat it Kiltzy style because it's been in there for about 4 weeks now, and I've been taking little pieces off of it raw and nice and thin, and it's been pretty tasty. So,
the very best. I got a little bit of the Bighorn Wyoming Wagyu here from Bighorn, and I just pulled this out of the freezer because I love show and tell. And better. I mean, that fatty meat. And do you focus on really fatty meat, or do you like the lean stuff? What's your thoughts on that?
I like the fatty meat for sure. I think the fattier the better. I mean, it definitely satiates better. It definitely gives me more energy, and it definitely makes my brain happy when I have the fatty meat. It keeps depression away, keeps your brain pretty tickled.
Yeah, and I love the fatty bits. It's easier for me to eat. I've got a lap band restriction, so the fat's really cool. My husband hates it, so I get to have his as well.
Oh, wow. Lucky.
Yeah, it's a match made in heaven.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Papa Carnivore is a good question. How much weight have each of you lost so far, and what was your original weights?
Well, I have no idea what my original weight was because I didn't have scales that I could stand on. It just said error for about 6 years. They're 700, I think, pound scales, so around 350 kilos or something like that. But I've lost around 500 because, 500 pounds.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Plus or minus, I couldn't tell you, but.
That is awesome. Today at around 320 pounds. I was at about 715 was my highest. So
And you know, it's an interesting thing. Do you think it took 300 pounds of lost weight in order to feel good, or was carnivore pretty much a quick feeling fantastic no matter what your weight is?
It was quick for sure.
Yeah.
For me. Yeah, it was. In fact, that was the number one shocker on carnivore, was that I'd been putting up with suicidal ideation and pretty terrible depression, anxiety for 2 decades. And I thought that it was because of my size. And I thought that I was going to have to get the size down before that would clear up. And then I was pleasantly surprised, but also kind of angry after about 3.5 weeks that my depression, anxiety completely went away. And I was like, that's great that it's gone, but man, was I mad, because I meant that I'd been being lied to for, 20 years about it, because it had nothing to do. I mean, I was still 700 pounds, but I no longer wanted to walk into traffic or eat a bullet,
Poisoned by plants.
Yeah.
Isn't that, it really is the simple answer. And obesity causes no disease. And in fact, if there's a famine or you got to walk 1,000 miles, you better be fat. And I'm convinced that obesity and fat causes no disease. And that's the biggest lie.
Yeah, I believe that too. Not only that, I think there's a chance that it might even protect you a little bit, because what I've noticed, like with my brothers and stuff, the ones that didn't, most of my family's big, but I got a couple of brothers that didn't gain weight, and they got one of them has MS and the other one got like cancer and stuff, and I sometimes wonder if the weight doesn't actually kind of handle the toxins better, like if our body's not putting it on just to kind of try to protect us.
I think there is a lot of protection in fat, and ultimately it seems to me that we're getting fat, and does your body maybe know something we don't know of what's coming? And again, if suddenly the food, remember, we're reliant on someone else to provide our food. But if something suddenly can't provide our food and you're skinny, it's not good. And ultimately, I think obesity is more protective, but we blame the thing that actually is the cure, fat, and we're so sort of not even realizing that the most delicious poisons come from
yeah, exactly.
Plants. Noah Whiteman and Kiltz are going to be on coming up in March, I think.
That's right.
Yeah,
March 7th.
Yeah. And so I think our what's the war against obesity is actually incorrect.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that, I've been seeing doctors. I was 600 pounds when I was 14, and I've been seeing doctors that have been trying to tell me how I need to lose weight my whole life. And whenever I was focused on the weight, I stayed sick. When I was focused on losing fat, that's when I stayed sick the whole time.
Well, don't you think we're sort of led to believe you should think less of yourself if you're fat?
Yeah.
Which is bullshit.
It's gaslighting on purpose, because that's how they manipulate. The whole big food thing, is to, with the calorie restricted diet, in my opinion, it's a whole sleight of hand thing. It's to put the onus back on everybody else and make everybody feel guilty that that you can't do it because you're too weak, whatever, you're not disciplined enough, when the reality of it is they're selling us addictive poison. And so if they could keep the onus on us and keep us thinking that we're doing it wrong, that we're the problem, and then we won't be able to tell that there's a difference between calories, that it's the food we're eating that calories are. I really think that calories, the whole calorie in, calorie out thermodynamic, hypothesis crap, is actually just a system to take the onus off of the drug dealers that are selling us the garbage.
And that's really it. Ultimately, we're ancient hunters, and we lived on fatty raw meat. In my opinion, raw is the very best thing to eat. I I do raw bacon, and again, beef bacon and lamb bacon and goat bacon and pork bacon's all really, really good and amazing. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And so ultimately, I mean, I know that Todd and Lindy are like really amazing people. I'm inspired by them every single day. And if you think Todd has like no freaking energy, I mean, you're under a rock. Todd will kick ass on anyone's energy that I could see, and Lindy also. And this is really, really amazing. Is now I do 1 meal a day in general. And I'll do a 2 to 3 day fast every month and a 5 to 7 day fast quarterly. What are your thoughts on fasting and your experience on that?
Yeah. Go ahead.
For me, I do a lot of intermittent fasting, and it's only I just eat when I'm hungry and stop when I'm not. So I could eat 1 meal a day, sometimes it's 2. I just listen to my body, and I know when I start getting cravings for non-carnivore foods that I've undereaten. So that's when I need to do like a mini prime and just graze all day just to get the food in and turn that little off switch back on again. So so just ramp things up again. If I stall or whatever, I know I need to just to eat a little bit more. But intermittent fasting for me is what I do best. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like fasting just because I think, one thing that I had an issue with was, lymphedema, and it does give my lymphatic system a nice break, and the autophagy really does help the lymph impacted tissue. So I favor some longer fasting during the summer. I'm not very good at fasting in the winter. For some reason, my body does not want to fast in the winter at all. It's a little bit more difficult. But fasting in the summer works nicely, and it has really moved. So like last summer, I did 12 rolling 7-day fast. So I did 12 1 week fasts last year, but that got 9 inches of lymph tissue off my right calf and 8.5 off my left, so in diameter. So that was huge because that was some stubborn tissue to get to go away, So that was very healing for me.
And I imagine in Montana, in the wintertime, if we had to go hunting for food, it would not be easy.
No, that's for sure. And I'll tell you what, I used to not care for the heat as much, but 300 pounds lighter this winter, and the Montana winter is a little bit rough. It's a little bit more difficult than it's been in the past, for sure. So I don't try to push to fast in the winter because my body thinks I'm crazy when I try to do that. So.
Ali, how we doing? You have some cues out there?
Oh, we have this question from Dan. He wants to know how much you guys sleep at night. He's only sleeping 3 to 4 hours a night. What do you guys sleep?
Tonight I got 2 hours because I had to get up at 2 in the morning. We had a live stream last night. But usually I get between 4.5 and 5 hours is what I've been sleeping for pretty much. I used to be I'd have to sleep forever when I was standard American diet because I was always tired, always sick. But my new circadian rhythm seems to want about 4.5 to 5 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah, and I sleep probably 5 to 6 hours a night, but I used to, my quality of sleep was really bad. Now I sleep like a baby, and when I wake up, I literally bounce out of bed. So I've never had that before. I would wake up out of bed and then jump on the couch and then go straight to sleep again on the couch or fall asleep at my computer doing work. I was shocking before, so quality of sleep is much better now.
Cool. And I do about 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours typically. I might throw in 1 to 3 10-minute power naps in the day. I actually slept in a little longer today. I got up at 3, and then I did a little power meditation for a little bit. And I usually go to the gym, but today I was like this. I'm going to go later today. But I think that I figure when I'm dead, be a lot of sleep that I'm going to be.
For sure. 100%.
That's a good point. I sleep 7 to 8 hours and I enjoy it, and I will keep doing that. AM Adkins has a question. Can you address gout on the carnivore diet? Who would like to answer that question?
Yeah, I mean, I had gout something fierce before carnivore, and it healed up completely. I didn't, they said, which is so funny, right? Because they tell you that it's from eating meat, right? And so, but I started eating a whole lot of meat, and gout completely went away. And I used to have, probably 6 to 7 pretty terrible gout attacks a year, and I was on gout medication, and I completely got off the medication within 6 months of doing carnivore. And after, I did have a few gout attacks at the beginning of carnivore, which seemed to coincide with some sort of detoxing, but I haven't had gout now in about 18 months, and not even a single remote flare up with it. So
Yeah, and I used to have it. Here's a comment, a couple of comments on our KMT. There's a point where too much excess weight is not enjoyable. It can cause back pain, knee pain. It's challenging to walk upstairs and get around the block. It's hard to breathe and impossible to do any type of activity or exercise. Now, this is not from someone's personal experience. Now, I imagine I'm 5'6", about 150 pounds. If you threw 100 pounds on my body to carry around, like, that would be hard. But I imagine people who have 100, 200, or 300 extra pounds are far stronger than I am.
yeah, I would say so. That's why, I was 600 pounds when I was 14, but I also worked in construction when I was 14. And it was because, I didn't just go from being normal size to like 600 pounds overnight. I was big my entire life. Like, I was probably, 200 pounds when I was 6 or 7 years old. I was, I was growing very quickly and putting on a ton of weight, because obviously I was extremely insulin resistant my whole life. I remember I have a picture somewhere when I was 8 years old, and I remember buying the biggest men's shirt that I could find at the men's clothing store for Christmas, and the buttons were popping open on it, and it was like a 4X when I was 8 years old, So your body does get acclimated to carry it, for sure. And to their point, yeah, I mean, I still have some knee pain and stuff today, and it's getting better, but that weight does take a toll on your frame, for sure. And it is hard to carry around. And I always had lung problems. I had lung problems from when I was a kid. That's what's so amazing about carnivores. I saw a lung specialist for, I don't know, 20 years, 26 years on what was wrong with my lungs. And they said, well, you don't really have asthma, but you have something that's close to asthma, and we think it mostly resembles reactive airway disease. So we're gonna say that you have reactive airway disease. We're gonna give you Advair. We're gonna give you nebulizers. We're gonna give you steroid inhalers, and this is your new life now. And I was taking all that crap, and I was in the ICU 3 times when I was growing up because of breathing problems, because they had to put me on more than 12 liters of oxygen in the ICU to get my lungs to cooperate. And when I was really sick on carnivore, I was on 6 liters of home oxygen. I was oxygen dependent. And even on 6 liters of home oxygen, my oxygen saturation wouldn't get over 88%. And they said that was really bad news, Well, within 6 months of Wim Hof breathing and carnivore, my oxygen, I got completely off the oxygen, completely off the CPAP, and now my oxygen's between 96 and 97% saturated, which was higher by a long shot than it was when I was 14, 15 years old. For the first time in my life, I've had a normal oxygen saturation, and that was bringing my resting pulse rate down from 107 beats a minute to like 68 beats a minute, and my oxygen went up. I mean, it's the craziest thing I've ever seen. Absolute crazy turnaround. And 20 years of seeing the doctors, they never, they couldn't do anything for my lungs, and it just took meat.
That's right. So you reduce the inflammatory etiology, and you are much healthier than you ever imagined, despite still having a BMI that's considered extremely unhealthy. And
100%.
I don't even know what the right BMI really is. We have no idea what that really is.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting fact. But obviously, as you said, that there is some challenge, obviously, but the cause is really the inflammatory particles that we're getting from a plant protein, low animal fat diet, which I think is kind of very interesting. So
Absolutely.
meat is the cure. Eric Arntz is on. Eric is our good artist friend who does my eagles and my lions and my tigers and all those sort of things.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
Kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Let's see. 7-month baby. This is from Instagram. Is it okay to feed Bub? Babe, just meat, yogurt, butter, and fat. When should we introduce some fruits and veggies? Let's see. Namrata. Let's see. Fruits and vegetables are pretty much never, in my opinion. But I think butter, fat, and fatty meat is like, earlier. And certainly 7 months, I think, is really good. But
Yeah.
That's awesome.
yeah.
I got a question. Andreas, I'm not going to try to say your last name. Question. I had severe itching all over my body for the first weeks. After 6 weeks of carnivore, it has now completely disappeared. Oxalate dumping, ?
Well, withdrawal. I always look at it as withdrawal symptoms more than anything. We're withdrawing from the plant sugars, antigens, chemicals, and all those sort of things more than anything. But yeah, Sally Norton believes that we're dumping oxalates and maybe phytates and lectins and others. Did you guys have any experiences with this?
Yeah, for sure. And I couldn't tell you if it's an oxalate dump or just some sort of detox or whatever, but I've actually gone through 2 different phases of it. And I just went through the worst phase that I've done yet that lasted over 2 months. And it started with passing 3 kidney stones in about 8 days. That was miserable. And then it turned into a skin rash, and it looked like oxalate dumping because it was pushing some of those little oxalate crystals out of my pores. And that happened. And then that came to some nerve pain in my right arm that would not go away. And finally, Alyssa and SBG said, if you try some green tea and it relieves the symptoms, then it's probably oxalate dumping. And so I did try some green tea, and immediately if I got relief from the nerve pain that was in my right arm for the first time in like 6 weeks, the nerve pain went away. So I assumed that it was oxalate dumping, but it was pretty severe, and that's the green tea was definitely helpful.
There's some medicinal properties there for sure. Do you do? I do raw meat, even pork or beef or lamb. Do you think our meat is really contaminated with all these parasites? And when was the last time you heard that bacon or beef bacon or lamb or pork has been recalled?
Yeah, I think that they are contaminated with parasites, and they're called politicians, as near as I can tell. That's the only parasite my meat has in it that's screwing it up. No, I don't worry about it at all. In fact, the longer I'm carnivore, the more that I want it rare, like blue, like raw.
Yeah.
And the more that I do that, the better I feel. I mean, I can have overcooked meat or, some kind of like processed meat or jerky, and I feel good. But when I have really rare red meat, I feel like I want to just pick something heavy up and run around the house with it. Like I just have crazy amounts of energy,
That's awesome.
It's awesome.
1,000-day carnivore last Saturday. Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yay, Alex.
Incredible.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about the community of carnivore and how valuable this has been. I mean, from all the way from Australia, from Montana here, Colombia, Florida, all around the globe, we're connecting in ways that, we've never had before.
For sure. Yeah, 100%. I, the first community that I had that was outside of YouTube videos alone was actually Lindy, because she reached out to me and she brought me into the steak and butter gang because I had been restricting, because I was still in the restricting mindset that I needed to not eat. And so when I was going through a stall, I was down to like less than a pound of meat a day and nothing was moving. And she told me about the priming protocol that SBG had. And so I went in there and did it. But I thought, I honestly thought that these groups were nonsense and they're for sissies. And like, I don't need a stinking group to eat meat, type of thing. And then I went in there, and within like the first meeting, I heard everybody talking about problems that I was having and what the cause of them were, when I just was wandering around aimlessly, bouncing off the walls to different symptoms and different common questions. And then I was like, yeah, I've been an idiot. Of course, carnivore communities are awesome because it's a collective goal of people gathering information and finding the truth all together that can share it. So yeah, now I think it's invaluable that no matter what it is, that everybody get into an H&H, Kiltz's community, any of them, but just get in a good community where we can help each other fight the propaganda and the nonsense and the lies that are out there trying to keep us sick.
Those pea parasites.
Exactly. Those pea parasites. They're the politicians that are lobbying for big food and the other big pea people that like to ban me from YouTube.
Scott Everson's on Meat Stock coming up in May in Gatlinburg. Is that right, Alia? And
yep.
He says 3 hours a night. He says fasting. More sleep is better. Inflammation is like reduced or gone, and that's the beauty of all. And coming to the meetups, another addition. When you come to the meetups, you get a face-to-face connect and ask questions, share your stories. And as our good friend Carrie Mann and Adam Lacey and Healing Humanity, it's all about the stories.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
It's all about the stories.
It's all about the stories. So we'll be
the case studies. We're the case studies.
The guinea pigs.
And I, with Chase last night, the question is, do we really trust the science to give us anything of real truth?
Right. Well, not when it's bought. When science is so expensive to do, somebody's on the other end of that thing fitting the bill, and it just seems like, call me a conspiracy theorist, but it sure does seem like epidemiology studies always end up having the outcome that they were paid to have.
Yeah, and the money that's trying to sort of push the narrative, and ultimately we're learning something. As a physician, I did not learn from nutritional science, which is all a lie. And when they say, doctors don't know anything about nutrition, well, nobody does, because it's all a lie.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you are. It's a lie.
Yep.
Yeah,
100%.
exactly.
And not by accident either. It's just not by accident. It is such a contrived deal. Me and Lindy were doing a reaction video on that Brandon Fraser movie, The Whale, and there's even so much propaganda in that movie. There's a scene in there where he goes in the kitchen in a wheelchair and he pulls up to the refrigerator and he puts like everything in his refrigerator on top of a pizza and binge eats in the kitchen until he vomits everywhere,
Oh, wow.
And I'm sitting there going, this is such a crock of crap. Like, I'm not saying that there's not people that have binging problems, but what I am saying is Hollywood and big food want us to believe that the way that you get to 600 or 700 pounds is to go binge eat like this monster every day. That's the image they want in everybody's head. And it's like, no, it's not. How it does that is you're just trying to live and get energy. You keep going to the doctor and they keep telling you to go have vegetables and to cut out meats and fats. And you do that. And over a period of time, you get really sick and insulin resistant. Yep, exactly. You take out the meat and that's
like
what happens.
A steak a day keeps the doctors away.
Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. Well, I believe that there's nothing wrong with our bodies. Our metabolism is not fucked up. Sorry, it's not freaked out, right? Not, right? It's simply we're eating a controlling, disease-causing, slave, soldier, peasant, and prisoner diet. But the last I looked, I mean, is this fed to the slave, soldier, peasants, and prisoners? It's not.
Nope,
It's
sure.
not. And there's a reason it's not, to keep us weak and meek. But
100%.
simply eat the fatty meat and you'll be healthier. And so, see, I question this term insulin resistance.
Yeah.
I think it's another BS personally. All right.
Yeah.
So I get fat eating food. Well, what are you supposed to get when you eat food?
Right.
You're supposed to get fat because the food in your stomach is not the fuel. It's the fat on your body.
For sure.
And so, as long as we judge fat in any negative way, we're brainwashed. We're so brainwashed.
I believe that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, look what they do. It's kind of the perfect system because all the Hollywood movies and magazine covers attack it, like if you dare have, if you're not 5% body fat or whatever, they're coming after you. They're messing with your head. And then they sit there and they demonize meat and fat and the things that really make you healthy, which is bound to cause an eating disorder. It's bound to make you think that you're screwing it up. I seen a question in here somewhere that said, how did you guys all wake up to this? And that was how I woke up to it. On the keto days, was through Gary Taub and Robert Lustig, when they started talking about how the food environment's been screwed up and how how that was all done. And that was when I took the gloves off, because that was the first time that I went, you know what? Maybe these dietitians and doctors that I've been talking to have it wrong, and maybe I'm not. Maybe this isn't a willpower problem. Maybe I have been eating wrong. Maybe I am supposed to be eating the meat and the fat that they said not to eat,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think we have an eating disorder. There's nothing wrong with us, because a bear is hyperphagic to eat a ton of plant material at the right time of year, sweet, in order to get fat for the hibernation, migration, gestation, nesting, and all those things. So the claim there's something wrong with you is just all bullshit.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And the claim that, that by taking meat out of your diet and fat out of your diet, because of all the scary fear mongering things that they put on there, for them to say that is equally, if they put this magic calorie on there, that's equally, the same type of food that like a can of soda or a Snickers bar is, or whatever, and they want to play that game. They're like, well, you can have soda and you can have Snickers bars. You just have to, moderate. It's like, whatever. You can't do that stuff.
We cannot. So we've put ourselves in they put us in an environment of addiction, and we're now sharing the story of strength through carnivore lifestyle. And it's a game changer. And as Todd and Lindy are sharing with us today, that changed everything in their lives. And I think it's changing all of our lives. We are the lions. We are not sheep. But when a lion and a wolf is fed plants, they become domesticated dogs and cats. That's it. That's it. Julie Collins on KMT, a steak a day keeps depression and anxiety away. One meal a day is my best days. Let's see, the carnivores. I guess it's the universe, the carnivores, right? That's it. That's it. Charlotte S is new to carnivore, wondering about adequate hydration, how much to drink, when to drink, and what to add to my water. Todd, Lindy, what do you think?
Man, add fat to your water.
Yeah.
I don't drink anything else usually but water, but I just eat the fat of the steak, and that balances my nutrients for me. I don't need to add much anything else. The only supplement I take is iodine. Iodine seems to help me. That's it.
Lindy, how
I
about
do.
you? Hydration. What's your thoughts?
I do like bubbles in my water, so I have a soda stream and I blitz it, and that's it. And only a half blitz.
Love
I
it.
don't have it full. Yeah, I just like bubbles for some reason.
I love bubbles too, and I don't add anything to my. I do mineral water that it's natural spring mineral water. I do mulled and salt. I don't use any of that sort of extra stuff personally. And your body makes water.
I can attest.
Yeah.
I can attest to that. I was drinking, I think water was my last crutch because my main addiction, or whatever you want to call it, before Carnivore was actually soda, diet soda. I was addicted to that stuff, and it was highly addictive. And I ended up drinking a cup. By the time I got rid of everything, I was replacing it with drinking ice water. And so for a good time there, I was drinking 2.5 gallons of water a day. It was my new kind of just habit. It was kind of my crutch. And when I started doing some dry fasting, it seemed like that dry fasting really helped break into that metabolic fluid stored in your fat. And I went from drinking 2.5 gallons of water a day to drinking maybe 60 ounces of water a day. Like my body just wanted, after it got trained to go get the fluid that was in my body, I stopped having any thirst for a bunch of water like that.
Well, your body only ever burns fat on your body. It never burns anything else, ever. It's all the lie.
That's pretty incredible. So it never burns because I'd wondered about this. So when you eat fat, it doesn't prioritize the dietary fat first. It still is taking it off of the stored cells.
Well, how many people eat fat? Really, almost nobody.
Right.
Okay. And so ultimately the job of the liver and insulin is to make fat. That's critical. Yeah. And your cells, every cell of your body has circulating fatty acids, LDL, HDL, VLDL. There's circulating fatty acids everywhere. So again, the cell's got fat in it, which is feeding acetyl-CoA to the mitochondria always, right? If you see an anorexic, bulimic, cachectic, like how long are they going to live?
Right.
They're not. They drop dead, okay? Yep. And so all this idea is that, you prioritize sugar? Like bullshit. There's no way. Is your cell ever deplete of fat? Never.
No.
Never.
It never goes away either. Yeah.
And so the amino acids and the sugars that you eat from eating animal cells or plant cells, the amino acids and sugars go to the liver, insulin goes to the liver, they convert those things to fat. They don't burn, you don't burn sugar or amino acids. You must convert them to fat or you die. Right? That's why a type 1 diabetic dies thin, because despite eating food, they can't make fat. That's their only problem. And since nobody's eating raw fatty meat, nobody except us few carnivores, but ultimately the number of carnivores, true carnivores in this world, are small.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? And most people are eating cooked meat. What happens to the fat when you cook meat?
Renders down, burns
it renders
off.
and melts away.
Yeah.
Rendered fat is not the same, and it's not as good for you as raw animal fat. And when you eat raw animal fat, it goes to the lymphatics. It's now sent everywhere in your body, and it does not need to go to the liver, and it is not converted to anything. So in essence, you're going to use some of that, but your cells are not going to say, wait a minute, we have some new fat coming in. Let's wait for that. But you've got fat in the cell already. Why would you wait for something that you have already?
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And every cell wall is made out of what?
Fat. Yeah.
Fat. And every cell wall has embedded proteins and sugars, which are basically the satellites, the barcode, the friend or foe messengers.
Right.
And ultimately, you know, we're making the story like insulin resistance. That is not our problem. We're just eating the incorrect diet. Now, if there's no food, or you're a bear, you know, in late summer, where your job is to get fat on grass and berries and all that other stuff. But if you and I, if they said, Todd and Lindy, go out where you live and eat a bunch of grass and grapes.
Right.
Could you do that without a supermarket?
No, not absolutely not. Not especially, well, yeah, I could eat some berries about 8 weeks out of the year. That'd be about it, you know.
But how did they get to your table?
Right. Yeah, somebody would. Yeah, I would have had to gone out and pick them, but somebody here, yeah, it's just a never-ending supply of nonsense with all the, you know, like how do I get a banana in Montana in the natural?
Not happening.
Or in Australia,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And this is the craziness of our world. We have to realize that basically, and I think Lisa said, I mean, nobody's going and hunting and gathering their own food.
Right. 100%.
Right. I would just want to do a shout out real quick as we're ending the live stream pretty soon. Make sure to put hashtag limitless into the chat. I want to make sure everyone gets a chance, gets into the giveaway. You can only do it on Facebook or YouTube. We'll figure out how to do it in other ways, but that's how we're doing it right now. Facebook and YouTube, hashtag limitless. Come on over and toss that in. Also, we have 150 people watching. And thank you all so much for spending your wee hours in the morning with us.
Oh man, we are blessed to have Limitless Lindy and Todd, amazing people that have been inspiring us around the globe and through the stories. And there's a question about iodine, and we've talked about the goitrogenic foods, have we not?
We have a few times.
So there are foods that actually damage your thyroid gland. They're plants. And I'm wondering if, in fact, like vitamin C, we're not depleted of vitamin C or depleted of iodine. We're simply eating foods that damage our thyroid gland and all of our other cells of our body.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. I had no idea how iodine deficient or whatever damaged, you know, how much more iodine I needed. Oh, wow. But you know what was crazy when I started taking really high doses of iodine, and Dr. Phil Smith and SBG kind of did some research to figure out why this had happened. But I started seeing in color, like I could see color again. It was crazy.
Wow.
I had to take a lot. It turns out I didn't know the difference between iodine and iodide, potassium iodide. So I was actually taking like 100. I was taking about 100 milligrams of iodine a day between those two. But I started seeing in color, and Phil Smith found a link where if you have an underactive thyroid, your thyroid stops producing some chemical your cones in your eyes, your color receptors in your eyes, the cones stop receiving without this chemical that comes from or without this hormone that comes from your thyroid. So he said your thyroid must have really been slow to be able to immediately notice a difference in your vision, you know, when I got up to that high of dosage. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and because we're we're damaged and depleted because of the most delicious poisons, which keep us in meat, domesticated animals.
Yeah.
And get rid of the plants. You eat the fatty raw meat, and I think it's the rare raw meat that is really part of the criticals for all of us, right?
I definitely feel a massive difference of what raw salmon and raw ruminant animals. Those two meats, they give me energy, and it's even beyond that. It's almost like like a euphoric brain energy from that kind of food that makes you just feel really good when I eat it, that I don't get from other meats or overcooked meats, for sure.
We've got Tim Johnson on KMT, is new to this tribe. 30 days on strict Lions diet, feeling great, learning a lot. We have our courses on KMT on Monday evening at 5:30. We're going to be doing a giveaway directly on. If you participate and ask questions, it's the participation we need. We need you to raise your hands and show up and comment and all sorts of things. That's really, really great. Let's see. Charlotte S. Great 80s cult movie about the hidden ideology of our society is They Live by John Carpenter. I don't know if I've seen that. I don't know if anyone else has.
I have not.
No, I don't.
They live. They
We
live.
have 2 questions also over here when we're ready.
Yeah, go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
I want you guys, Todd and Lindsay, to answer this question. I am obese and afraid of eating fatty foods. How much do you eat on carnivore to avoid any additional weight gain?
Want to take that one first, Lindy?
Yeah, look, I started carnivore to lose weight, and yeah, I did lose a lot of weight because I was at such an excess size. So it came off very quickly. Now it's kind of stopped. I'm still overweight. I'm still morbidly obese. But I don't care anymore because I have my health back. I feel amazing. So I don't focus on the scales. The doctors, they say, you've got to lose weight and you'll feel better. It'll fix everything. It doesn't fix everything. I still got issues, but I'm driving again. I've traveled to Texas. I can go out and spend time with my daughters. I can go to a restaurant and not have to worry about breaking the chairs or fitting into chairs. I can climb stairs, and that's where my focus is now. So, I'm still overweight. I don't care. Like, I feel great. And I know that if I continue eating this way, I will continue improving over time and just getting better. And that's where I focus in my energies now. I stall and stop and start and whatever. I'm just trusting the process, trusting the diet. This carnivore is for life.
Yeah.
Because I start having those little bit of vegetable here, a little cheat there, that will spiral me and I will end up back at 800 pounds in a snap. And I'm aware of that. I am an abstainer and not a moderator. And that's a really big lesson that I've had to learn. So for me, I don't like to think about this being a weight loss or, I try just to think of the healing. That's what I'm here for. And, the weight, I will trust it will come off when my body feels safe.
I think I am healthy and well. And I think Lindy and Todd and everyone out there, I am healthy and well. The mindset is the master set. Always think in the belief I am healthy and well. And then meet and move. That's all you need to do, right? Keep the meat and move. And there's a comment here on Instagram about meat aversion is a big problem. So I think it's once again brainwashing. Mindset. I love meat. I love me also, right? Don't you think the mindset is such a critical thing for us?
Yeah.
100%. In fact, I think there's I think he was a neurologist or something that was just on Michaela Peterson's channel that said something that really rung a bell with me because 20 years ago, I remember I've been working on this a long time trying to fix habits, but I was listening to a neurologist 20 years ago that said if you meditate on something, which I mean, not to get preachy or something, but that's what the Bible says, that you can, how to make differences meditating on something. And it is, this neurologist said, if you meditate on something, there you go. If you meditate on anything for 7 minutes and 20 seconds a day for 21 days, you actually build a new neural pathway in the brain that becomes a habit, right? Well, so that was really cool. But this guy said something that even really struck a nerve with me. A lot of people ask me, how I finally was able to be successful on getting through all this, I don't know, food addictions or whatever you want to call it, that I've been dealing with my whole life. And one of the things I always said was I had to make, till I got through the cravings, I had to make carnivore the least path of resistance. Well, the reason why I found that really interesting was this neurologist who was just on Michaela Peterson said that they're finding that the habits that you've done the longest and the things that you meditated on the longest have the most myelinization of the nerves, which means that they have more conductive properties, which means that they are the least path of resistance for your brain. And so your body, being a smart machine that it is, wants to conserve energy, and it utilizes the path of least resistance. Just like water flowing down a mountain, it's always going to, find the path of least resistance, and so does our body. And so the more that you focus on something and the more that you tell yourself, meditate on these habits, it actually creates like a neurological superhighway in your brain that's going to be like used automatically, in your subconscious, and changes everything. And they've actually found that, which is, to me, is just incredible, right? Because it brings everything together in my mind,
It is. I mean, basically, the marketers know how to make you a meek and weak. And so we've got to be the masters to change the message. So we're just sharing another way of psychological adjustment to the brain. And to me, Christ, I mean, I read the Bibles, meditation, prayer. Remember, I am fat and ugly. I am incapable. I'm not smart enough. I am sick. Well, that's the brainwashing of the medical system that wants to take your money.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Take your mind, actually. It's all about taking your mind. And this is where the carnivore lifestyle comes. You now realize that there is a new mindset within you.
For sure.
Dr. Kiltz, I want to answer this question. This will be the last question for today because we got to wrap up pretty soon. But Brother Mo says, I got home from 6 days CCU hospitalization because of pulmonary embolism. Do you think I should continue my carnivore diet? I did ACL rec surgery 2 months ago. Please answer me. I don't know what to do now.
Well, I think the surgery increases your risk of, surgeries are not normal to the human body either, right? And I would say carnivore, faith, and fasting. Fatty meat, faith, and fasting is the very best thing to do. And just because you have a bump in the road, like you give up, no, he's giving you a secret that the hardest things in life are the best things in life. Positivism. This is our good friend Mark McKinley from Bighorn Mountain. For it's so amazing. Do we have any parting comments from Lindy and Todd?
Man, I'd say just don't make it complicated. Eat meat. Don't listen to the noise. And man, you're gonna be surprised the difference that can make. Just that, not listening to the propaganda.
Yeah, exactly. Lindy, what about you?
Yeah, definitely keep it simple and don't stress about the numbers. Stress is no good.
Right.
Yeah, take the stress out of it. Keep it simple, day at a time.
I'll let you do the contest here, and then I'll read my quote from the Way of the Christ. Again, It's human philosophy. Religion is human, social, cultural philosophy.
100%.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Who's going to win? Who's winning today? Drum. Anthony S. Yay!
I think we should take all of those people that join in, and maybe annually we'll do a larger giveaway.
Like a cow.
A cow, yeah. Or half a cow from Bighorn Mountain, right?
There you go.
All right, I think I can get Mark to help on that one. All right, we are not subject to the laws of chance, luck, circumstances, or the law of averages. Our destiny is in our own hands. We can do something constructive about everything that comes our way today, tomorrow, and throughout eternity. if we build a temple within our consciousness, if we continually go to the secret place of the Most High in prayer, if we actively form our destiny with positive thoughts and feelings and do not let ourselves to be victimized, inhibited, or limited by appearances, we make our own world. As we learn the lessons of life, we uplift our consciousness, and in this way, we determine a happy destiny for ourselves, our family, our communities, our globe. That's what we're here to do. So, Lindy, and Todd, blessings to my brother and sisters. We're so grateful for you to be here. Let's see, the Carnivore Cure and Limitless Lindy. Is that how people could connect?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yep, 100%. Thank you so much for having me on, and that was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, my brothers and sisters on KMT
Bye.
and Instagram. We'll see you.